I've gotten 3 different channels monetized in a single video each. I'm Colin, I'm a full-time content creator. I've gotten millions of views on YouTube and made tens of thousands of dollars from the platform. And today I'm going to tell you how you can get your channel monetized in a single video. So if you don't believe me, here are screenshots from the individual videos that show that each one has met the 4,000 watch hour requirement and the 1,000 subscriber requirement. Here's the video titles if you want to look them up if you don't believe me. Let's jump into it. So I have done 3 different niches here: snacks, old school RuneScape, and Elden Ring. These both are gaming, so if you want to, you can say 2 niches, but this plan will work in any niche. But how do you actually know what niche to pick? Well, there's a very simple formula you can use here. You need proof, which will consist of others and you. So you need proof that it is working with other people already doing well in the niche. So you want a niche where other people are already winning. And then the other half of the proof is that you can bring something unique to the niche. Okay, so that's the 2-part formula. You need a niche where people are winning and a niche where you can bring something new to the table. That effectively translates to a reason to watch you over the competition. So how can you come up with a way that people will watch your content over the competition? Well, it's very simple. You need to be remarkable, right? How do you be remarkable? Here is a list of ways, but there's a ton of ways you can be remarkable. These are just a few. So you could be longer. If their video is 8 minutes, make yours 20. You can be more detailed. If their video is vague, do real research, contact experts, and make a detailed video. Tell it better. If they just use old photos, maybe you could do 3D animations. You can bring personality to the video. So if the other channel is a faceless one that is very bland and dry, you can bring your face to it, add in jokes, and bring that personality. Make the video more fun. You can be up to date. If a video was done 5 years ago, sometimes it's enough just to remake the video and do it now with up-to-date information. And finally, get to the point. Do it faster, cleaner, quicker, and you will win. Okay, we have our niche. Now we need our idea. So to come up with an idea, it's a really simple process, right? But this is where most people fail. They don't spend enough time here. The idea is everything on YouTube. Everything else flows from this idea that you come up with. So it needs to be amazing. How do you come up with an amazing idea? Well, first and foremost, you have to do a ton of brainstorming. So you're going to write a list of ideas that you come up with. Just sit down and think of the best videos you can come up with and write them down. Then go to AI like Gemini or ChatGPT and ask them for a list of ideas. And finally, you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to do some research, right? You're going to look up videos in your niche. You're going to look up videos in niches that are close to yours. And you're going to look up videos that are really far away in very far away niches, right? And then you're going to filter all of those ideas down into a single idea. It sounds scary, but we have to pick an idea to move forward with. So great. I've told you to come up with a bunch of ideas and to filter them down to one. But how do you know which idea you should pick? How do you actually know what a good idea is? Well, we can filter your ideas using this framework I got from Patty Galloway. So you're going to ask yourself these questions and answer them. Does it have core, casual, and new fit? Core being the people who are hardcore about the topic, casuals being people who are casually interested in the topic, and new being people who are very new to the topic, right? You don't have to hit all 3 of these, but the more of them you can hit, the better, the wider reach your video will have. 2, you need to know, is the idea feasible, right? So one idea that I've had that I think is really awesome, but is not feasible is I broke every bone in my body. Like if I saw that on my homepage, I would have to click that. But I just don't think there's any way I can break every bone in my body and live to make a YouTube video about. So the idea is not feasible. Then, is it easily conveyed in a title and thumbnail? So if you can't make a good title and thumbnail, nobody's going to click your video and nobody's going to watch. So it doesn't matter how great your idea is, right? You have to be able to package it well. Packaging being title and thumbnail. And finally, do you genuinely want to make the idea, right? Now, this is not a must. You don't have to love the idea, but if you do, the video is more likely to come out fantastic because your excitement for the idea will shine through, right? Okay, so that's the first part. We'll answer these questions to filter our ideas. And then finally, you need to make sure that your idea is both unique and proven. So that sounds kind of counterintuitive. How can I have an idea that's been proven to work, meaning it's already been done, and it be unique? Well, let me show you. This is a video that is 5 years old. It got 5.6 million views. The title is 10 Unwritten Rules in Prison. This idea is proven. The video's had plenty of time to grow and show that it can get views. It's been done before. It's a fantastic concept, right? Now, how do we make sure our video is unique? Well, I just took that format and made it unique by doing it in a different setting. So these are two videos I have done, both in video games. So we have the unwritten rules of Overwatch and the unwritten rules of Elden Ring. You can see that by taking a proven idea and making sure that it's unique by doing it in a place it hasn't been done before, we will get a winning idea. And if you're in a niche where the unwritten rules have not been done, here is a free 300,000 view video for you right here. You're welcome. Okay. One final thing about ideas, right? There are very little differences that will make the difference between a 10K view video and a million view video, between a video that makes you $50 and a video that makes you 10,000. Many people will do what is easy. Just keep that in mind whenever you're coming up with ideas and you're filtering your ideas, right? If you do what's easy, other people will come along and do your idea better than you. So try and be the person that's doing the idea better than other people instead of being the one who took the easy way out. You'll see more success. Okay, we have our idea. So now we are going to do the title and the thumbnail. Lots of people who are bad at YouTube will do the title and thumbnail later. This is a classic mistake. You need to do the title and thumbnail first because the rest of the video needs to meet the expectations of the title and thumbnail, and that's a lot harder to do whenever you don't know what the title and thumbnail will be. So we create our fantastic idea, and then our fantastic title and thumbnail will follow from the fantastic idea, and then our fantastic video will follow from our fantastic title and thumbnail. So let's go over titles and thumbnails. You want to focus less on literally explaining the video and more on creating a reason why a viewer should watch the video. So whenever I'm thinking about titles and thumbnails, here's just some general rules that I'm thinking of. Most thumbnails need to effectively represent and sell the central idea of the video. So really amazing thumbnails follow from amazing ideas, but all good thumbnails tend to have a few of these following things in common. You want a few words, no more than 6. If you're getting up to 6, you're really starting to push it. Lots of people would say no more than 4. You want to have a few strong, clear elements. So this is like maybe a single person and a single item, or maybe 3 people, or maybe a group of 100 people and then 1 person, right? Very clear, separate elements. You want to make sure that they aren't too busy. Simple is typically better here. You want to have a lot of contrast visually, right? So there's a lot of ways to create contrast, but if you are color, brightness, and shadow, you can have a lot of contrast idea-wise. So hot and cold, before and after, or rich and poor. You typically want to show action. You want to build curiosity, called the curiosity gap, and you want to convey a high cost by cost signaling. So examples of the curiosity gap would be showing a tier list but hiding what's at the top of the tier list, or cost signaling might be showing a Lamborghini being crushed or 100 days of doing something, because both of those things cost a lot of time or money. But most importantly, titles and thumbnails set expectations for the viewer. So when I see a title and thumbnail, I will be expecting a video to deliver something based on that. You want to create appropriate expectations with your title and thumbnails that will fit the content of your video. You also want to make me care about whatever it is you're going to talk about by doing some of the things listed above. Let's continue on with titles and thumbnails. There's a very important idea you need to understand about your video's packaging. That's the title and thumbnail, called frame and concept. So your concept is the central idea that the video is around. Say, for example, chicken. And then the way you frame the video is the important layer on top of that. So we could frame our video about chicken as how to make the juiciest fried chicken, or I ate only chicken for 7 days, or the secret history of chicken wings, or comparing a $5 grocery store rotisserie chicken to a $50 restaurant chicken. So our concept is chicken. Our frame are all of these different ways to present that idea. Okay, so that's concept and framing, right? Now, let me show you all of this in action. Let me show you a couple examples. So this is a video with a very poor thumbnail, right? It shows action, but there's watermarks all over it. The text is really small. There's no contrast. It's hard to read. There's not a few simple elements. These watermarks here really kind of muddy the image overall. It doesn't even fit the actual full size of a thumbnail. It's bad. The title, Every Way to Cook Chicken All Around the World, is decent, but not fantastic. Now let me show you the exact same idea, but done better. This is Every Way to Cook Chicken Breast, 30 ways. And then we have this awesome thumbnail here where you can see that a whole bunch of chicken is being cooked, action is being taken, there's clear contrast between everything. It's just the difference between these two should be very clear, and you should be able to pinpoint exactly why this one works and why this one doesn't, right? And I can hear you saying already, but I can't get a thumbnail to look like this. It's just impossible for me. I can't cook 30 chicken and lay it on the counter, and I don't have this beautiful kitchen and background, and I can't blah, 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 excuses, excuses, excuses. Well, let me show you almost the exact same idea, right? Don't cook chicken until you've watched this, how to cook chicken. But this is the simplest thumbnail I can imagine. It's literally a guy holding up a piece of chicken with black text on a white background. You can do this. Anybody can do this, right? And this video got 619,000 views. All right. Now that we have our amazing thumbnail, we move on to our next step. Research. Here is where we will double verify that our idea is in fact possible, right? If I make a video on, say, the history of the cosmic brownie, and I look up the cosmic brownie and there's not really any history on it after, originally when we did our ideation phase, that idea is possible. I could foreseeably look up that there is history about the cosmic brownie and make a video about that, right? It's possible ideation phase. Now we get into the research phase. I'm double checking that by making sure a history actually exists there. So if your video will take research, which most will, you'll make sure it's possible, and then you'll actually collect the information. Here again is that example. First upload, 300,000 views on this video for that channel, right? The untold history of the cosmic brownie. This should tie everything together for you up until this point. The idea, the thumbnail, the packaging, the research, it's all here, okay? Next, now that we have our research done, we move on to the script. And now that we're on to our script, this is where a lot of people fail also, because it's really difficult to write an engaging YouTube script, but I'm going to give you some bullet point information that will hopefully help you with this. So first and foremost, you need to have a strategy. You want to define the blueprint. Always start, right, with the video's goal in mind, who the video is for, the target audience, and a single core message that the viewer will come away with. So for this last video that we just looked at, the cosmic brownie, right, the goal is to tell the complete history of the cosmic brownie. The target audience is people who grew up, who are nostalgic for that food, and the single core message of that video would be the one summary of the history of the brownie. This ensures that every word in the script serves a clear purpose and prevents creating an unfocused video. Next, you want to be a peer, not a narrator, right? When I was writing that cosmic brownie script, I was someone who grew up with that. Even if you can't relate necessarily, you need to write in a way that makes it sound like you can. So you want to use a conversational tone. You want to sound like a passionate friend sharing insights. So that's using, hey, remember this thing that we all did as kids, right? Us, you talk directly to the viewer. Create that one-on-one feeling. Next, you want to hook immediately with a promise. So the first 20 seconds must establish the video's core value, a shared frustration, a compelling question, a story. You need to make a contract with the viewer, essentially, where you're saying, this is what you'll get from this video if you continue to watch it. You want to avoid cheesy generic greetings like, hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This sort of breaks that contract and it causes people to leave. Don't do it. Don't waste the viewer's time. Respect it. So for every point that you make, you want to immediately follow up with why is that important to the viewer? This is how you turn raw information into valuable wisdom that solves a problem or satisfies a curiosity. People will leave if they don't understand why they're watching something or why they're being told something. Keep paragraphs short and punchy. So this is one that you don't necessarily have to do, but when you're writing, it's best to stick to a rule of like 1 to 4 sentences. This will break up your script and make it easier to read while you're narrating. It also gives your editor clean breaks that they can use to insert ads or to transition into new visuals. This helps keep the viewer engaged. And finally, you want to end with a strong payoff, right? The conclusion of your script must deliver the promise that you made in the hook. The viewer should feel like their expectations were met and their time was respected, and they got exactly what you were saying you were going to give them. All right, now we have our fantastic script. Let's move on to voiceover. When it comes to voiceover, you want to make sure that you are clear, that every word can be understood. Enunciate your words, right? Make sure you can be understood by everybody. Make sure your audio's squared away beforehand. Have other people listen to maybe 30 seconds of you talking, and they'll tell you, hey, that sounds great, or no, I can't understand what you're saying. right? Then you want to bring emotion to your video and to your script reading. Now, I naturally have a pretty monotone voice, so I found that whenever I'm reading my scripts, I can exaggerate like 10 times more than I was expecting. And when I listen to it back, it sounds like, pretty normal. It sounds within the normal human range of emotions. So try overacting essentially what you're saying. And when you listen to it back, it'll probably sound pretty good. Then if you make a mistake, please re-record. You don't have to do this always. A couple of mistakes here and there will make your video feel more authentic. But generally, you want to re-record stuff if you feel like you didn't get it right or you could do better. Don't be lazy. All right, now you have your killer voiceover. Let's move on to the shot list. This kind of goes along with the first half because I would categorize both the voiceover and the shot list as gathering footage for your upcoming edit. You want to make sure that your shot list is relevant and that it meets the expectations of the audience. So what do I mean by that? Why is it important? When you look at your script, you should be able to write down every couple of sentences what you would expect to be on screen. Then you go and collect that footage so that it can be turned into a beautiful edit, a beautiful video. You want to make sure that the footage that is on screen while you're talking is relevant to what you're talking about. This helps people stay engaged. It helps them follow along with the video. And then you want to keep your audience in mind, right? While you're gathering shots and making jokes and things, your audience should be able to understand what's on screen. Okay, now we have the final part of the video, right? This is the next big hurdle that people come to, and it's editing. So here's a couple of rules that you can keep in mind while you're editing. Make sure your audio is balanced. Make sure everything is the right volume, the music, the sound effects, the voiceover, any other clips that you have. Make sure everything's within a reasonable range so that nobody gets their eardrums blown out and they can always understand what you're saying. You should almost always have a transition for coming on and off the screens. So if pictures or little animations play, it's expected that those should fade in, fade out, bounce in. There's a million ways you can do transitions, but you generally just don't want to pop something up because it's really jarring and can take people out of your video. Then don't be afraid to kill your darlings. So this is a really big one that I see a lot of newer people fail at, right? If a joke is bad, it doesn't land. If a part's boring, if you listen back and you're like, man, that sentence really didn't need to be there. Or while you're editing, you're listening back and you zone off. Really pay attention to those points and cut stuff that does not need to be there. If you can still understand the video, right? So I'm watching the video and the thing happens, things happens, right? If that middle thing can be cut and I will still understand the video and get all the value that was promised, you're probably fine to cut that. All right, next, you need to cut out long pauses or outtakes if needed, Make sure you do that cleanup work. Don't be lazy, again. And then finally, focus on getting the right relevant footage for the topic you're talking about and make it cohesive for the viewer. So if while we are doing the shot list and, we gather up all our footage, we go to the edit and we come to a part that feels boring or like maybe we talked about something that we didn't get footage for, but now it becomes very clear that we need footage for that. Go get the footage. Again, don't be lazy. Put in that extra work to go find the clip that helps exemplify your point or help the audience follow along. And now that we have our fantastic idea, our beautiful packaging, our wonderful research, our excellent script, our wonderful footage, our beautiful edit, we can finally upload our video. Congratulations, you have created a video that will get your channel monetized in a single video, just like I have done 3 separate times. And I guarantee you, if I wanted to start a channel tomorrow and make a new video for it, it would get monetized as well, because I would follow this formula that has taken me through this process several times and worked every single time. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you found it helpful. If you are interested in working with me directly, you can go ahead and book an audit below. If you'd rather try and audit your channel yourself to go through and find the flaws and how you can fix them, I also have a full toolkit, a full audit toolkit for that. And then also, if you just want to know what's the unique thing that you can bring to your niche, like we talked about over here, how you can be remarkable, I also have a completely free worksheet that you can fill out that will help you find that unique value proposition. Wherever you're at in your YouTube journey, I hope I have something that can help you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.